It's going to be nice, though. I think getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do, and, not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone.
Caitlin Clark, our WNBA rookie, just announced her resignation, and the WNBA is implementing adjustments that have left fans and pundits astonished. Why is the league scrambling? How will these developments impact the future of women's basketball? Stay tuned, because what's occurring is unlike anything the WNBA has ever seen.
Had an open look from three, didn't take it. Only 3 to shoot. Gonna have to make something happen. Clark through the lane, reverses it in, and beats the shot clock.
Like Caitlin had an opportunity to take the shot, instead drives in, and good job here after the travel to turn her back and
Let us take a quick look back. Caitlin Clark earned a popular name in collegiate basketball while attending the University of Iowa. She dominated the NCAA scene with her scoring ability, amazing range, and unwavering tenacity. Her games against top-tier teams, especially epic matches with players like Paige Buchers, have been among the most watched in recent women's basketball history.
Superstar Caitlin Clark added to her growing collection of milestones Wednesday night at Northwestern, moving into second place on the NCAA women's all-time scoring list during the Hawkeyes' 110-74 win. She now only trails former Washington star Kelsey Plum by 103 points for most career points. Stephen A., will Clark end up being the greatest women's college basketball player of all time?
I definitely think she'll be able to be the greatest scorer of all time. I'm sure Cheryl Swoops and Cynthia Cooper and other people like that will have something to say about whether she's the greatest player, but she's absolutely phenomenal. She's averaging 32 points a game, shooting 40% from 3, 7 assists, 7 rebounds a game. They're 20-2, 9-1 overall in the Big Ten this year. She is the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've said that for the last year.
Fans adored her, not just for her ability to score 40 points on any given night, but also for her enthusiasm and swagger on the court. Clark's popularity was not confined to die-hard basketball fans. She became a symbol of a new generation of female athletes, attracting spectators who would normally attend men's games. Her influence extended well beyond the court, becoming a role model for young girls, a popular name on social media, and even a subject of debate in conventional sports media. So when she announced her departure, the WNBA found itself in an unprecedented situation. A rising star had chosen a different route, and the league needed to react.
It feels like that's always kind of how your season ends. You feel like you're playing your best basketball, and then it has to come to an end, and it's kind of just who's playing better basketball at that time and who plays a better game. But I think for myself is just, go back and really reflect on the year that you had and all the amazing moments. But I think, just as a point guard and as a leader, there's a lot of areas that I can continue to improve. And I'm a competitor and somebody that loves to work, so it won't be hard for me to want to get in the gym and to get even better and, get better for my teammates and really know, we're a young group. We have a lot of really talented players on this team, and, we won 20 games this year and we're the 6th seed, but I feel like there's so much more we can accomplish, and, you can always just work for that and remind yourself of that, and that's certainly what I'm going to do going into the offseason.
Caitlin Clark's resignation shocked the basketball world to its foundations. The announcement came at an emotional press conference in which Clark discussed her choice to move away from her planned WNBA career. She stated a desire to pursue other options, both personal and professional, leaving the sports world stunned. For many, it seemed like a top NBA prospect withdrawing from the draft.
It's going to be nice, though. I think getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do, and not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone multiple times a week. I really appreciate all of you, but it will be nice to kind of get away and relax for a little bit, and I appreciate everything you all do as well, so I thank you.
The statement went viral on social media, with some expressing astonishment and dismay while others attempted to comprehend her choice. Analysts on ESPN and sports podcasts analyzed every word of her remarks, speculating on what factors impacted her decision. Did she believe the WNBA was not ready for her level of play? Was she deterred by wage discrepancies or league conditions? Or did she have other goals than professional basketball? Regardless of the reasons, her departure created a void that the WNBA could not ignore.
Of culture and sport and fashion and music, the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black, And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. So social media is different today than it was in 1979 when it didn't exist.
The WNBA's immediate reaction was rapid but well crafted. The league praised Clark's services to the sport and wished her well in her future endeavors. However, the scenario was very different behind the scenes. The front offices scrambled, recognizing that losing a potential star like Caitlin Clark was not just a loss to the league's talent pool, but also damage to their marketability.
But, you know, I always tell the players, you know, I was told a long time ago, if someone's typing something in and you wouldn't ask their advice, ignore it. So it's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago, because they see the benefit of having women and diverse women representing their brand.
I agree. Rivalries are good. Manning and Brady, the prime one among them. If the economy turns sour, how does it affect your business?
Yeah, in sports, a lot of the corporate partnership dollars are discretionary dollars. That's why it's important to lock in and do scenario planning around locking into longer term deals, whether it's a media deal like we just locked in for 11 years. Having that revenue stream fixed for at least that period of time is good in every economic outcome.
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert talked publicly about the necessity of respecting athletes' personal choices, but she also signaled that the league was rethinking its approach to assisting young players. The message was clear. The WNBA did not want this to become a pattern in which great college players dropped out of the league, possibly changing the balance of power and focus away from professional women's basketball in the United States. Let's look at what happened behind closed doors. League officials, club owners, and marketing directors all convened for emergency meetings. They saw that if Caitlin Clark's departure swayed other elite players, the WNBA risked losing out on the next generation of stars. The league has seen a consistent increase in viewership and fan engagement, owing in large part to high-profile college players easily transferring into the professionals. Losing one of its biggest stars before she ever played a game was not something they had anticipated.
In this series, we saw Caitlin Clark get poked in the eye. And Caitlin said in media after that, that was accidental, that was unintentional. But we saw reporters gaslighting that situation, trying to make more of it, speaking to amplifying the wrong narratives. As a result of that, Dejanay Carrington, who has been vocal about the issues that players have dealt with over the course of this WNBA season with the rhetoric, posted her getting called the N-word countlessly, getting threats to her life based off of an incident that Caitlin Clark said this was a basketball type of thing. I pushed through, we played a game, she played a good game after that. So she minimized it, tried to erase it, and tried to send a message like, y'all, there's nothing here. That was one incident.
There was also the question of perception. For years, the WNBA has fought to increase its portion of the sports market. Clark's decision raised questions about whether the league was the ideal home for the most talented athletes. Could they provide comparable possibilities, salary, and recognition as other options? And how would fans react if the league's future stars pursued other paths?
When two of your most visible players are involved, not personally, it would seem, but their fan bases are involved in saying some very uncharitable things about the other.
Well, the one thing that's great about the league right now, we do sit at this intersection of culture and sport and fashion and music. Like the WNBA players are really looked at now as kind of cultural icons.
True.
And when you have that, you have a lot of attention on you. There's no more apathy. Everybody cares. It is a little that Bird Magic moment, if you recall, from 1979 when those two rookies came in from a big college rivalry, one white, one black. And so we have that moment with these two. But the one thing I know about sports, you need rivalry. That's what makes people watch. They want to watch games of consequence between rivals. They don't want everybody being nice to one another. So social media is different today than it was in 1979 when it didn't exist.
Faced with this dilemma, the WNBA made a number of quick measures to retain young talent in the league. Here's a rundown of the significant changes. Higher rookie salaries. The league significantly increased the rookie wage cap to make the WNBA a more financially realistic alternative for elite collegiate players who could otherwise explore other possibilities, such as foreign contracts or sponsorships outside of the league. Recognizing that money alone was insufficient, the WNBA implemented enhanced benefits packages for players, including as better healthcare, maternity leave regulations, and a stronger mental health support system. The idea was to demonstrate to players like Clark that the league would look after them both on and off the court.
But, you know, I always tell the players, you know, I was told a long time ago, If someone's typing something in and you wouldn't ask their advice, ignore it. So it's a balance, but certainly from a marketing dollars, but corporate partners are stepping up to endorse these players much more so than they were 5 years ago, because they see the benefit of having women and diverse women representing their brand.
I agree. Rivalries are good. Manning and Brady, the prime one among them. If the economy turns sour, how does it affect your business?
Yeah, in sports, a lot of the corporate partnership dollars are discretionary dollars. That's why it's important to lock in and do scenario planning around locking into longer-term deals, whether it's a media deal like we just locked in for 11 years. Having that revenue stream fixed for at least that period of time is good in every economic outcome.
The WNBA increased its marketing efforts, creating advertisements that featured young, dynamic players and positioned the league as the ideal venue to build a player's legacy after college. They brought in new sponsors and even worked with famous social media influencers to increase the league's online exposure.
Because we had such great momentum going in, including to our All-Star game, our most viewed All-Star game ever. So coming off of that, the women, U.S. women won the gold medal, but it was a highly competitive game against France where there were several WNBA players. So we have now about 17% of our players born outside the United States. So we're kind of globalizing our player population like the NBA and other sports have. So I think it was a good thing to raise. I mean, I was in Paris. The vibe in that arena for those games was unbelievable. France, Belgium, obviously the U.S., France. France being in both gold medal games, men and women, was so exciting because you had the hometown crowd there as well. So I think it was accretive to global basketball.
The WNBA made several changes to the game structure to reach a larger audience. This featured minor changes to game rules and an emphasis on making games more viewer-friendly. Consider faster-paced play, more media timeouts for better commercial placements, and more integration of social media material throughout broadcasts. These adjustments mark a major shift for the WNBA, demonstrating the league's willingness to evolve in order to remain competitive and relevant. Fans have varying responses to the WNBA's changes. Some complimented the league for taking immediate action, acknowledging that reform was required to stay up with the changing sports world. They felt that higher compensation and better player perks would attract more talent and raise the level of play.
Women's sports is taking off, it seems to me.
Yeah, it's a confluence of a lot of positive elements, and it's a lot of capital coming into women's sports. We raised capital 2.5 years ago when nobody really was thinking about investing in women's sports. And now we're getting calls, many calls from people, private equity, everybody who wants to invest in women's sports.
Let's go.
Others, however, regarded the reforms as too little and too late. Critics said that the WNBA's issues were structural and would take more than simply financial fixes to address. They emphasized that concerns such as the wage disparity between the WNBA and the NBA, as well as the need for more publicity and broadcast rights, could only be resolved slowly. On the player side, responses differed as well. Established WNBA players, including Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, applauded the reforms, considering them a good step towards the league's future success. Meanwhile, younger players were interested in the higher rookie compensation, but they also wondered whether the league would continue to strive for longer-term development.
Get better for my teammates and really know, we're a young group. We have a lot of really talented players on this team, and, we won 20 games this year and we're the 6th seed, but I feel like there's so much more we can accomplish, and, you can always just work for that and remind yourself of that, and that's certainly what I'm going to do going into the offseason.
Caitlin Clark's choice, as well as the WNBA's following modifications, have shifted the emphasis to other collegiate players like Paige Buchers and Haley Van Lith. When Clark stepped back, all eyes went to these sportsmen to see how they would react.
Like we talked about in our locker room after the game ended, where obviously people were pretty disappointed in the outcome. I think it gave us a taste of where we wanted to be. At the same time, I felt like we could have done a little bit more to help it get back here for a game 3, and that's what really kind of stunk about the whole thing. But I thought it gave us a taste of where we wanted to be, and that's exactly the message that Chrissy iterated throughout the locker room, and that our coaches kind of iterated when they talked, is just that, you have to let this kind of burn inside of you and let it kind of bother you in a way that it's going to drive you through the offseason.
Would they choose to join the league and profit from the new rules, or would they follow Clark's lead and look into other options? Beckers, in particular, has been outspoken about wanting to see changes to how the WNBA nurtures developing talent. Her choice may indicate if the league's adjustments are sufficient to influence the next generation of stars. Clark's departure and the reforms in the WNBA have far-reaching ramifications. The incident has sparked arguments about the overall condition of women's sports, including how they are financed, supported, and promoted. College basketball, which has historically struggled to compete with men's sports for publicity, has seen a boom in popularity as a result of stars like Clark. Her choice to leave the WNBA raises questions about the best method to promote women's sports, while also ensuring that emerging talent reaches their full potential. It reminds us that transformation in sports is more than what occurs on the court. It is also about establishing an atmosphere in which athletes feel respected, supported, and able to grow.
Basketball was something I absolutely loved to do, but there was a lot of other things I had to have done in my life, whether it was school, whether it was, emptying the dishwasher or taking out the trash. I had chores, it stunk, and I think there was just things that my parents really invested in making sure that I was a good person before, basketball or sports, and I've just tried to live in that same exact manner as just be a good human. And I think that's what I've tried to, show everybody as well, is I try to be the best human I can every day. I try to give people time if I have it, and it can be hard because there are moments where you don't always want to pose for a picture. You just want to go and get your sandwich and eat your lunch. And but I feel very thankful. I wouldn't change anything for the world. I feel very thankful for the relationships I built, the opportunities that I've had, the way people have supported me, and whether it was at Iowa or whether it's now in the WNBA, they have really, supported me and loved watching me play basketball and watching my teams play basketball. So I think it'll definitely be a little bit of an adjustment period for myself, not really, having to do that so much. I woke up yesterday and I'm I don't know what I'm going to really do. So it's going to be nice, though. I think getting out of the spotlight and just getting to live my life and do things that I want to do, and, not have to sit and I love talking to all of you, but it's going to be nice to not have to sit in front of a microphone, multiple times a week. I really appreciate all of you, but it will be nice to kind of get away and relax for a little bit. And I appreciate everything you all do as well, so I thank you.
Last one.
So where does this leave Caitlin Clark? While she has decided to retire from the WNBA for the time being, many believe she will return to professional basketball in the future. Perhaps she will seek a career abroad, where elite players can make much more. Maybe she's considering a career in sports journalism, where she can use her celebrity to shape the discourse around women's sports in new ways.
Great rivalries are good. Manning and Brady, the prime one among them. If the economy turns sour, how does it affect your business?
Yeah, in sports, a lot of the corporate partnership dollars are discretionary dollars. That's why it's important to lock in and do scenario planning around locking into longer-term deals, whether it's a media deal like we just locked in for 11 years. Having that revenue stream fixed for at least that period of time is good in every economic outcome. But it's scenario planning. Certainly corporations who have discretionary dollars who put it towards sports, and we know they go to men's sports before they go to women's sports. So we do scenario planning around that.
One thing is certain, wherever she goes, admirers will be watching, and her choice has already had a lasting impact on the WNBA and the future of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's departure has spurred changes in the WNBA that may impact the league for years to come.
Yeah, I think that's, there were so many moments. And every place we went was so unique, honestly. It's fun to kind of look back. People always ask me, where was your favorite road arena? And I'm they're all so different and unique in their own way. And obviously for me, my first year here is getting to travel to all these new arenas. And there was a few I'd already played at in college, but just doing it as my first time in the WNBA, those are moments you're gonna remember within themselves. And obviously LA was special. The crowd we have there, and obviously I know it's crypto now, but Staples Center and the Lakers, and just, the history that building has. That was my first time ever in the building, and the way we came back and got our first win, and I couldn't buy a basket all night, but then I was able to make two at the end, and the locker room was fun after that. I know it was our first win, but it was still special. And then honestly, playing at home in front of, these fans, and the way the young girls just, dangle over the side of the rails and are so happy, and people are crying, and you understand the impact that you're having on people's lives. And That's what's so cool about it for myself.
While some consider it a squandered opportunity, others see it as a motivator for change. The league is evolving, fans are discussing, and the future of women's basketball is blossoming before our eyes. It remains to be seen if the WNBA's changes will be effective in retaining the next generation of players, but one thing is certain, the world of women's sports is changing, and Caitlin Clark has played an important part in that transition. What are your thoughts on the reforms the WNBA is implementing? Will they be enough to maintain rising talents like Paige Buchers and Hailey Van Lith? Please let us know in the comments section below, and remember to like, share, and subscribe for more sports news updates.